The Hidden Leaders of Bnei Yisrael, a short Dvar Torah for Parashat Beshalach. Who leads Bnei Yisrael when they leave Egypt? If we limit the question to human leadership, the main answers we'll likely get are Moshe with possible addition of Aaron. The problem is that these answers ignore the existence of other leadership groups such as firstborn, Kohanim, Nisi'im, judges, officers, and the leadership group we'll discuss today, the elders. In this week's Parashat, the elders appear the second time Bnei Yisrael have no water. A brief reminder, the first time is after the splitting of the Red Sea when Bnei Yisrael arrive at Marah, thirsty because the water there is bitter and Moshe throws a tree into the water, sweetening them. The second time is at Refidim after the man story. Bnei Yisrael fight and complain to Moshe. Moshe rebukes them, saying they're essentially complaining against Hashem. Moshe cries out to Hashem that any minute the people will stone him. Hashem tells Moshe to pass before the people, to take the elders and his staff, and go to Chorev and strike the rock before the elders. The two main questions I think need to be answered here are who are these elders and what is their role in the story? As usual, I'm not the first to relate to these questions. An interesting example of an answer to the first question is provided by the Aramaic translations. Onkelos translates that these are the Sabei Yisrael, meaning, elders, older people. While the Targum Yerushalmi translates sages, replacing age with wisdom. It's worth noting that this is not a minor disagreement. The translations disagree over the terms the elder of Israel wherever they appear in the Torah. I'm also not the first to try and understand the elder's role. Most commentators I've seen argue that the elder's role is to testify that Moshe brought forth water from the rock and not from existing springs. Nachmanides, for example, emphasizes that the distance between Refidim, where Bnei Yisrael were encamped, and Har Chorev, the site of the miracle, was significant. Therefore, bringing the entire nation wasn't really an option, but the elders' testimony was enough. According to these opinions, the elders are the eyes of the congregation, as it says in Numbers. But there are also other views. Or Chaim suggests a psychological explanation. The nation is thirsty but not dying. At least, no one will die of thirst in the next coming hours. On the other hand, the people do not know that they're not dying, and they begin fretting. When Moshe goes in search of water, the people are not sure if and when he plans on returning. The people become stressed, the stress heightens the thirst, and we enter an endless loop that can have dire physical consequences. People can die of the thought of thirst. Hashem tells Moshe to return to the elders so that when the people see them calm, the people will remain calm as well. According to the Malbim, Bnei Yisrael do not deserve a miracle at this stage since they're complaining. Or, like I tell my children, if you ask nicely, you might get what you want. If you scream, you probably won't. The elders, in contrast, do not complain. They deserve a miracle. Therefore, the elders must be gathered, and they even merit seeing the miracle itself. Netziv combines verse 5 of our story to the end of verse 4. Moshe cries out to Hashem that he does not know what to do with the people. Any minute they might stone him. Hashem has two responses to this. First, Na'ah. Pass before the people and see how they don't do anything to you. And second, if you still have to worry, take the nation's elders with you. Nothing will happen to you with the elders there because the people respect them too much. Netziv's explanation sheds an interesting light on the relationship between Moshe and the people. After all, Moshe is their leader, so why does he fear that the people might do something to him? Shouldn't they respect him as well? Maybe not. The elders grew up with the people and emerged from within them. Moshe, on the other hand, grew up in Paro's house and spent a significant part of his life outside of Egypt. Moshe needs to prove himself again and again and again to earn the respect. The elders don't. But I'd like to point out an additional aspect regarding the elders' involvement. In the books of Exodus through Numbers, the elders are mentioned about 20 times. But what do they do? Moshe may call them and gather them. Sometimes they're present in the background, but they really do nothing. They're simply there. And their power may lie in this very fact. Sometimes you need someone whose mere presence radiates confidence, security, calm, and respect. Someone who, when you look at him, you can say, "It'll be all right. He's also here." These people do not necessarily have an official role or defined status. Often, we don't even notice that they're there, but their role is critical. They're the national tranquilizers. They keep people calm. And calmness is something that can really help us today. May the things be Leilui Nishmat, my beloved and heroic student, Amishchai Shimon ben Batya Nishai Rubin, Hashem Hikom Damo. Dovi Holtz, one who loves tranquility and Tanakh.